Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are taking a look at a challenge that is, well, it's massive, it's critical, and it's incredibly time sensitive.
Right.
We're asking, how do you get crucial, hyper-localized information to the people who need it most? And how do you do it fast enough to, save their livelihood?
And we're talking specifically about the, 150 million farmers in India.
Exactly. They're facing the extreme, chaotic unpredictability of climate change every single season.
This is, I think, maybe the highest stakes information delivery problem in the world. The window for action, for actually doing something with the data, can be just a few hours.
If you wait a day, the crop is gone.
It's gone. So we're talking about preventing economic catastrophe, crop by crop, village by village.
So our mission today is to get under the hood of a system called Agri-Sense Guardian. It's this innovative, multi-agent AI platform built specifically to tackle this huge agricultural crisis.
And the sources we have get into the details of how it works, how it takes this incredibly complex, raw satellite data, climate models, and turns it all into simple, actionable advice.
Using a highly specialized digital team of AI agents that work together.
And before we get into the tech, we just have to set the scale here. We're talking about over 150 million farmers.
Leading 1.4 billion people.
Right. Agriculture is the backbone of the economy, and for these farmers, every single season is a gamble against, against forces they can't control. Erratic monsoons, heat waves, frost.
Okay, let's unpack that problem. Part one, the high-stakes problem and this information gap. I really want to focus on the financial tragedy here. The numbers are just staggering.
They are. I mean, when you annualize the losses from just weather-related crop failures, it's heartbreaking.
What kind of figure are we looking at?
Indian farmers lose over 92,000 crores annually.
Wow.
And to put that in perspective for you, that's roughly 12 billion US dollars lost every single year.
$12 billion. That's not just an economic number. That's the financial ruin of millions of families, aggregated.
It is. But the most shocking part, and this is what our sources really dig into, is that a huge portion of that is actually preventable.
That's the real tragedy.
Exactly. The core failure isn't the farmer's skill, it's the information gap. We know that something like 60% of these farmers just never get timely, relevant, localized weather advice.
So they're flying blind.
Completely in the dark when they have to make these critical decisions about planting or irrigating or when to use pest control.
So why aren't the current systems working? I mean, everyone has a weather app on their phone. Why can't you just scale that?
Because a generic app gives you a generic forecast. And farming is all about the hyperlocal variables.
Right.
Your standard app or, the traditional manual advisory systems, they just can't account for the specifics of one plot of land, the soil conditions, the exact crop you're growing, its stage of life.
The microclimate, where one village gets rain and the next one over is bone dry.
Exactly. And then there's the other side of it, this interpretation barrier. Even if you could give a farmer a raw NASA satellite reading,
It's just data. It's meaningless without context.
it might as well be in another language. They don't need data points. They need instructions. They need to know increase flow to valve C by 20% by dawn tomorrow. Not, the normalized difference vegetation index is low.
Which brings us to part two. Why multi-agent AI is the only answer here? This is the question I had right away. Why a team of agents? Why not just one massive, powerful AI model? Or, a simple chatbot?
It's because agricultural risk isn't a single problem. It's a synthesis problem. It requires a whole bunch of different skills at the same time.
So if you try to make one giant model do everything, weather, soil chemistry, farm planning, it breaks.
It becomes brittle, it gets slow, and it makes mistakes, especially when you're racing against the clock. So Agri-Sense Guardian is built to act like a real-world agricultural advisory board.
Where you have different experts collaborating.
That's the perfect analogy. You need a few key things happening at once. First, parallel data collection, getting info from many places simultaneously.
Okay.
Second, cross-validation, where the agents are basically checking each other's work.
A sanity check.
A sanity check. Third, adaptive decision-making. The system has to know when it's not sure about something and go back to refine its analysis.
And fourth?
Multi-domain expertise. It has to connect the dots between the weather, the soil, and the best farming practices. A single model would just choke on all that.
So they built this using, what, Google's Agent Development Kit?
That's the framework, yeah. And the crucial piece is something called the A2A protocol.
A2A, what's that?
Agent to agent. It's the communication standard, basically the language that lets these different specialist agents talk to each other seamlessly.
So let's meet the team. Who are the three core agents in this system?
Okay, so first up is the forecast agent. You can think of this one as the data scientist or the meteorologist. Its only job is to analyze all that environmental data,
Just the raw numbers.
the raw numbers, the satellite images, the climate models, and come up with an initial risk assessment.
Then you need the skeptic, the one who double checks everything.
Right, that's the verify agent.
Okay.
It's the quality controller. It takes what the forecast agent found and, well, it tries to poke holes in it. It checks for accuracy. It compares the data to other sources for consistency.
And finally, the one that actually tells the farmer what to do.
The planner agent, this is the advisor. It takes the verified risk and turns it into a clear, prioritized, actionable plan. It's the communicator.
This architecture is really interesting. Let's get into part 3, the architecture under the hood. Walk us through the workflow. A farmer sends a request. Check risks for my farm for the next month. What happens first?
Okay, so steps 1 and 2 are all about orchestration. The whole thing is managed by an orchestrator agent.
A project manager.
Exactly. It gets the request, it starts the session, and this is important. It initializes memory, so it can remember past conversations about this specific farm. Then it sends the main task over to the forecast agent.
And this is where that parallel processing really kicks in. This is the centerpiece, right? How it gets all that data at once.
Right. The forecast agent launches 4 specialized tools at the same time. It understands that risk is a mix of what's happening in the atmosphere and what's happening on the ground.
So what are these tools? What data sources is it hitting?
For the atmospheric side, it uses the weather tool, which hits sources like Open Weather Map for the 30-day forecast, and the satellite tool, which is pulling data from NASA's power database.
Things like solar radiation and temperature.
Exactly. Then for the ground data, it uses the Copernicus tool, which taps into the European Space Agency's satellites for things like soil moisture and vegetation health.
Which are great early signs of crop stress.
Fantastic indicators. And finally, the soil test tool. This pulls more static data about the soil itself, like pH, nutrient levels, from ICRIC's global soil grids.
That is an incredible amount of high-quality data to pull simultaneously. I'm guessing the speed here is the whole point of the architecture.
It is everything. Our sources say that entire parallel process, all 4 API calls and integrating the data, completes in just 200 milliseconds.
200 milliseconds.
Wow. If it had to do that one by one, sequentially, it would take 3 times as long. The advice would arrive too late. That speed gain is survival.
Okay, so the forecast agent has its initial assessment. Now step 4, quality assurance. The verify agent steps in. How does it check the work?
It's all about consistency and external validation. So let's say the forecast agent predicts a drought based on NASA data. The verify agent might use a Google search tool to check that against recent local news.
Oh, interesting. So it's looking for real-world context.
Exactly. Maybe there are reports of a pest outbreak, or the local government just announced water restrictions in that district. It adds a layer of reality to the raw science.
And all of that gets used to calculate a confidence score for the prediction. The sources mention a threshold of 70%.
Yeah, 70% is the line in the sand. It's a balance between speed and reliability. If the confidence is below that, the risk of giving bad advice is just too high.
And if it's too low?
It triggers a refinement loop. The request goes back to the forecast agent to try again, maybe with different parameters, and this can happen up to 3 times.
So it's designed to keep trying for a high-quality answer, but not get stuck forever.
Right. It prioritizes a confident answer over a rushed one.
That adaptive part is so key. Okay, once confidence is high, we're at step 5. The planner agent gets the verified risk and creates the actual plan.
And this is where it all comes together. The planner agent takes that verified risk, say high chance of heat stress and low soil moisture, and generates a specific prioritized plan.
Not just generic advice.
No, specific instructions like increase irrigation by 20% using your drip system, or apply light irrigation tonight to retain ground heat against expected frost. And it's all delivered in a clean, easy-to-read HTML email.
And the final step, step 6, is about learning. The system isn't just a one-shot deal.
Right, it's building a history for every farm. This is the difference between a tool and a partner. Every step, every agent interaction is tracked using observability tools.
Like Prometheus and OpenTelemetry. Can you just quickly define what observability means here?
Sure. It just means every moving part is monitored. Prometheus tracks performance metrics, like how long that NASA call took. OpenTelemetry tracks the data's journey through the system. This helps the developers, but critically, it feeds the system's memory.
which lets it be proactive.
Precisely. The memory banks learn. If a farm gets 3 drought warnings in a season, the system doesn't just issue a fourth warning. It might proactively suggest a long-term fix, like installing a drip irrigation system.
The speed is what gets me. With all this complexity, the parallel calls, the verification loops, generating a custom plan, the whole process, from request to email, is under 2 seconds.
And that speed directly saves crops. Which brings us to part 4, the real-world impact. That early risk detection is projected to reduce crop loss by up to 40%.
40%. When you measure that against a $12 billion annual loss, that's a world-changing number for millions of families.
It's a profound achievement. And it's not just about saving the harvest. By using that high-res soil moisture data from Copernicus, the platform helps optimize irrigation,
Saving water.
saving up to 30% of irrigation water in a place where water scarcity is a constant crisis. That's enormous.
And I have to mention, the platform is free and open source, which means this incredibly powerful intelligence is actually accessible to the farmers who need it.
Absolutely. And the credibility comes from the fact that it's all built on verified authoritative sources. NASA, ESA, ISRIC. There are, as they say, 0 simulations. It's real data applied intelligently.
What's next for Agri-Sense Guardian? What does the roadmap look like?
The goal is a holistic farm management tool. So they're looking at adding pest predictions, using computer vision to spot infestations early,
Okay.
market price forecasting to help farmers plan their planting cycles better, and maybe most important for India, expanding multi-language support for the country's 22 official languages.
So to be clear, the philosophy here isn't to replace the human agricultural expert.
Not at all. It's to augment them. It's about taking their knowledge, their methods, and scaling it. Making it available to every farmer in every village, 247, it democratizes their expertise.
So wrapping this up, what this deep dive has really shown is how specializing these AI tasks into a cooperative team forecast, verify planner solves the need for speed, accuracy, and expertise all at once.
That self-correcting blueprint is the core innovation. It's a mechanism for handling extreme complexity under a tight deadline, which I think raises a really important question for you, the listener.
If this specific multi-agent architecture, the parallel tools, the specialized agents, the confidence loops, if it's so effective for a problem like this in agriculture, where else can we apply this exact blueprint?
Think about it. Rural public health. You could have agents synthesizing disease data, vaccine supply chains, and weather patterns affecting delivery, or local disaster response.
Agents analyzing infrastructure damage, resource locations, and calculating evacuation routes in real time as a flood or fire progresses.
Exactly. This architecture isn't just about protecting farms. It's a new, proven model for deploying specialized intelligence in any critical field that's facing massive complexity and severe time pressure. That's the real potential here.